get much traction in it. It's a tough job to have, you know.
For mental health workers like yourself, and mental health nurses like you and LJ, it must really affect your guys. Does it affect your guys' mental as well? Like, you say these people are dealing with their symptoms for years. Like you guys doing this as a full-time job. Will they get to the point where you guys, because you're dealing with them, these people for a long time, will it affect you guys? How you guys think?
I think there's always that risk. I mean, you can't go through this job and not have some form of emotional impact happen to you. Okay, as much as we can, we check ourselves. We make sure that we're doing okay. And there's multiple ways that we do that. We have peer-to-peer support. We have supervision where we discuss issues. We have access to therapies if we need to, if we go through a traumatic event. But yeah, look, it does. It's definitely shaped the way that I look at the world and my life. It's made me more grateful for the things that I have than I didn't before. I do think I find myself very, very lucky to be in the position that I am now. But I also realize that hard work actually makes a big difference. Being able to work on yourself makes a big impact, And look, there's plenty of cases where nurses go through traumatic events, and it's a consistent traumatic trauma after trauma after trauma. And we're just human beings at the end of the day. Of course, it's going to impact us, and we get depressed, and and we get traumatized. Depending on what the situation you've been in. Especially in mental health, there's nurses that get assaulted on a daily basis. There's nurses that get threatened. I get threatened quite often. And we get, the hardest part is actually when families kind of blame you for losses. I find that probably one of the hardest aspects. Unfortunately, we do end up having clients that successfully end their lives, and the fallout is actually really, really difficult to deal with, because there's protocols and things that needs to follow through. We don't usually do it. It's usually our managers and stuff like that kind of go through and liaise with the thing. But there has been instances where I'll tell a story of a situation that happened to me that's impacted me quite seriously. I was working with this boy, and very, very difficult to follow up. He was kind of doing his own thing, had a head injury, used a lot of substances and stuff like that. But he had a mental health diagnosis on top of everything. I had just finished organizing a placement for him for drug and alcohol support, where he'd go and live there kind of for like 18 months, where they'd support him with drug and alcohol stuff while still receiving treatment from me. And I was sick one day when he was due for his medication, and so it wasn't an urgent thing. Sometimes we're sick and then we just push things to the next day. It's not that big of a deal. So I came back from being sick and then looked on my schedule. I need to go see this guy. So, pack my bag, head down to the house, knock on the door. And then this person opens it. I've never met this person. This person, the guy, lives with his mom and his father. I open the door and there's this lady standing there. Like, I'm wondering who this is. No, sorry. The mom opens the door and then asks, "Oh, is blah 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 here?" And then she just starts tearing up and walks away. And then this lady comes to the door, and I've never met this lady before. And then she identifies herself as this guy's sister. And then she goes, "Oh, he's killed himself," And that's the first shock I got. I was just like, what the fuck, I literally just saw this guy, earlier in the week, And so that happened. And then next thing I get is the dad walks out of the door from one of the side rooms. And he just starts going off at me, just screaming at me, just saying like, it's your fault. You should have done more, just going at me. And then I start backing up. I'm trying to sort of, I understand where the dad's coming from. He's just lost his son, and he's just yelling and really making a big scene. So I step back. I'm standing kind of in the driveway, and he's kind of approaching me and yelling at me. All the fucking neighbors come out, wondering, like, nosy Westies, just wanting to know what the fuck's happening. And I allow him to do it. I allow him to do it for about 5 minutes. And then by then, well, I'm assuming it's 5 minutes, but I allowed him to have his event. And then, I decided, look, I apologized. I told him I didn't know. And then I said, I'm going to leave, but someone will be in touch. And I left. And that's kind of sat with me for a long time, is that something that I was working really hard on to try and support a person. I was trying really hard. And he wasn't the easiest person to work with, And to get that kind of reception from his family, and to me, in my deepest emotions and my thoughts and things like that, I feel like I had done everything possible that I can do. Like, nothing's perfect, right? Obviously, nothing. But I feel like with what I had, I did everything that I could at that time. And it really fucking sucks to have the family view you in that way, knowing that you've gone above and beyond, like we do with everyone that we try, to try and manage these guys and things like that. And the way that the family received me, after having a pretty good relationship with them, mind you, for all these years, was really fucking traumatic. I didn't know what to do. I came back, talked to my coordinator, like, look, this is the situation. I had no idea this had happened. Family kind of, this, that, and the other, and ended up just getting told, no, look, go, you can go home. I don't think you should be here today. Go home. Try and settle yourself down and things like that. But what really stood with me was like how quickly things in my industry can change, in the terms of just the other week, the family were very happy with me, happy that we're gonna go through with this placement and things like that. To absolutely, this is your fucking fault. You are the reason that he's killed himself and all this stuff. And fuck, it's just like, I don't think there's a lot of people out there that could say, look, you're being blamed for someone's fucking suicide. On top of that, I don't really work in an industry that's represented fairly in the media, So that's the first thing that came to my mind, and fear was like, fuck, they're going to go to the media. They're going to, they're going to tell their version of the story, and then that's what the media wants to pick up on. And it's not fear of losing my job, I know I did everything. I wouldn't give two fucking flying fucks if the media tried to interview me and do this shit. Because I know deep down that what I did was everything I could at the time.
Mm. That feeling, everything you could do at the time, is how strong was that feeling for you to get through it?
Not at the time. At the time, you can't help but question yourself. I think that's a natural response. What could I have done? What should I have done? What could I have done better? I think that's a natural. You should, if you don't think that way, I think there's something really wrong with you. If you don't think that there's a possibility that you could have done more, you can always do more. But the issue is that it's not about what can we do more. It's like what can we do at the time that we have. I don't sit with this guy every single day. I don't spend the whole 8 hours of my shift with this guy trying to work with him and trying to get this stuff done. At most, I probably spend 2 hours with him when I see him. And we try and formulate what needs to happen, what we need to do, organize the right supports in place and things like that. But it took me a while, maybe a couple weeks, to sort of come to terms with the entire thing. And the sad thing is, and this is for the family too, you don't get closure with suicides. you can't sort of because it's not natural. It's not like if someone passes away due to like a heart attack or something like that. Like it's a traumatic fucking thing, but you can accept that because it's kind of like you can understand it. People who people who kill themselves, it's like fuck. We could, if you had just waited, if you had just like allowed it a little bit more time, maybe we could have done something. Maybe we couldn't, but you'll never know. You'll never understand what was going through his mind at the time, what emotions he was feeling, what issues he was experiencing at the time. And I'm gonna have to fucking live with that for the rest of my life. Is that I'll never fucking know what really drove this man to sort of decide that being alive was no longer an option for him. So, so that's an example, right? Is that we deal with these things all the time, and it's complicated because it's not just the client that we're working with. We're working with his entire support network. That's his family. That's his friends. That's everything. And we're the easiest group to blame when things don't go right. So that's something we have to, a burden we have to bear is being aware that, as much as people think we're helpful at the time, they will easily drop you in the shit and make you feel like you are the worst fucking human being alive. And I did feel that way, I did feel that way for a long time. It's like, fuck, maybe if I, if someone had gone seen him the day before, or, if I'd spent a little bit more time with him. Those are the normal questions you ask yourself, and it really makes you think whether this fucking job is for you at the end of the day,
Yeah, it really it tests you, eh?
It really does, man, and I take my hat off to the people who's done this job for like 20 plus years and still able to sort of keep that passion and that belief that that you are helping people, because we do. That is like one aspect of what we do. The things that don't get seen is all the positive stuff. The people that don't fucking kill themselves because they're getting support, not just from us, but like from everyone. So it's a difficult industry, man. Like it is. I'm biased because I work in mental health, but I think it's one of the hardest nursing jobs you can do.